history and the proofs that he was a Muslim and everything. The whole subject is discussed at length in that book. So you better read that. But in a nutshell, I can only tell you here that he was a Muslim, and he was not originally a Muslim, but he was a Hindu Banya by caste, and by religion a Hindu of perhaps Sanatan Dharma sect, belonging to Sanatan Dharma sect. But right from childhood there were signs that he was fed up of idolatry, and in fact never endorsed of idolatry. And gradually he weaned away from the Hindu caste and the background and became friendly to Muslims, until after some time he regularly accepted bath at the hand of a Muslim saint belonging to Sheikhupura district near Nankana side, and remained under his bath for a while. Then he declared openly that he had become a Muslim and become a sort of dervish himself, and started preaching among the Hindus. And the converts he gained from among the Hindus, they made the major part of the Sikhs, or at least at that time they made the major part. Also he drew some following from among the Muslims as well. But that was just a sort of a sect of fakiri or dervishi, and not a new religion at all as it was understood then. So later on he performed Hajj, and Bhai Mardana, which was one of his very devout companions, he remained with him throughout that, and he kept the annals of the whole journey to Mecca and back. The Hindus, the Sikhs now say that he was a Muslim until the time when he went to Mecca and performed the Hajj. But when the miracle of turning of Kaaba occurred, at that time he renounced Islam and came back a Sikh with a new religion. That is only a fake story, because the whole foundation on which the story is laid is without foundation itself. Because the Sikh belief is this, that while in Khana Kaaba he was lying with his feet facing west, which is Qibla. And the Sikhs don't understand that within Kaaba there is no direction. Very stupid to say that he was lying with his feet towards west. Or in some stories say that he was outside Kaaba, but they are more to be understood, better understood. At least they carry some reason, that he was lying outside, and I think this is the story more and more in circulation, but with his head in the opposite direction and his feet facing Kaaba. So some of the mullahs of the time, some Muslims, let's say, they very strongly objected to this, that you are defiling Kaaba, the sanctity of Kaaba, by doing this. So he turned his feet, turned his direction, and the moment he turned his direction, he took the swing of the feet in the other direction, the whole Kaaba went round and started facing his feet. So which way he would turn, he would find the Kaaba there. So that was the miracle which converted him from Islam to Sikhism. But it failed to convert all the other witnesses anyway. But this is just a story. It has absolutely no bearing, no rationale, no evidence. Because as far as the conduct of the Guru Nanak is concerned, it remains exactly the same. The other day, one of the converts from Sikhs came here and asked the same question to me. And I told him, I said the most important proof, or the most weighty proof which we can give in the support of our view is this, that when Guru Baba Nanak died, he was wearing that chola in which the holy verses from the Holy Quran and Kalma La ilaha illallah and Surah Fatih were inscribed. And that was the same chola according to the Sikh belief which he was wearing prior to going to Kaaba. The same chola with same inscriptions was worn by him throughout his life, before going to Kaaba and after going to Kaaba. And in the same chola he died. So I told him that if he had changed his religion, why to have worn the same chola with the verses of the Holy Quran and La ilaha illallah and Surah Fatih on it? He should have chucked it away and inscribed something else on a new chola. So that's enough proof that the whole story is just imagination and fiction, nothing more. So that is in a nutshell. But when you read Sadbachan, then you will find it a very interesting reading. And nowadays I think the Ahmadis in the West should pay attention to Sadbachan much more than before, because this is the right time psychologically to preach among the Sikhs. Another idol which they had created is broken down. They are in a state of mass frustration. And this is the right time when the new ideologies can make openings into a people. So psychologically this is the most opportune moment for Muslims to preach among the Sikhs. So you better read, and thank you for this reference because it gave me opportunity to remind everybody about this. Please.
सिखों की बुक है जी जप जी गुट का, उसके अंदर लिखा हुआ है कि वक्त ना पायो कादियाँ जो लिखण ले कुरान। मेरा ख्याल ये भी उनकी पेश गोई है कि भी उनको ऐसे मौके के ऊपर उनको ट्रबल ना डाले जाए और जब कुरान के मार्क लिखे जाएं तो उसकी मेरा ख्याल है सिखों को सजा तो जरूर मिले जो उन्होंने नाफरमानी की।
और जब what was a shlok? Is it a shlok they call their verses? Sikhs call their verses what? Shabad. A shlok is Hindu. Exactly. Shabad nahi? 21वीं पौड़ी। तो ये जो पौड़ी उन्होंने सुनाई है, in this verse there is a controversial opinion about this verse. Some Ahmadi scholars, the most prominent among them is convert from the Sikhs and a very pious man, Sardar Abdul Rahman Sahib Mehr Singh, whose son Dr. Nazir Ahmed happens to be here nowadays in England. He was a very staunch proponent of this view, that this body means Qadiyan. The word he used was Vakna Payo Qadiyan, je likhan le Quran. And during that time, in pre-partition days, he used to make the young boys remember this and go to the villages, and we also, I was among those who remember this body and went to the villages and preached them armed with this body particularly. But there are other scholars who opposed him on this. They said, no, you are putting words to the mouth of Guru Baba Nanak, which he never said. What he said was Qazi, which means the Muslim justices. Now, this is not acceptable because it also has some objection. Because he should have said Maulviyan, not Qadiyan. Because Qadis never likhan le Quran, they never and indulged in this activity of likhn Quran, in the writing and promotion of the Holy Quran. They were just justices. So if he had that in mind, he should have said, Vakta Payo Maulviyan, the likhn Quran. So what is the compromise then? What is the way to compromise between this Qadiyan and Qadiyan? The compromise is very evident, because Qadiyan is a distortion of the word Qadiyan. In the olden days, when people pronounced Arabic well, the word was Qadiyan, was always pronounced Qadiyan. Even today, when you write Qadiyan, the Arabs will pronounce it as Qadiyan. So, in fact, it is not a distortion, looking at it from this angle. It was a true pronunciation of Qadiyan. What we would pronounce as Qadiyan, a knowledgeable person, a scholarly person, would pronounce otherwise. He would say Qadiyan. So this is exactly written in Urdu script is Qadiyan. So when he said Vaktna Payo Qadiyan, he did not say Ta, Alif, Dal, Qadiyan. Of course he said Qadiyan with Dwad. And this was exactly the name of Qadiyan. Qadiyan in olden days was christened, as we say nowadays in English, and it was named Qadiyan, was named Qadiyan. And it is said, it is written in our literature, that by the passage of time, because of the distortion in pronunciation, ultimately Qadiyan gave way to Qadiyan. But I feel there is no reason for that justification, because it didn't happen that way. It happened this way, that the true pronunciation of Qadiyan was Qadiyan, has never been Qadiyan. So it was not a distortion of pronunciation, but a distortion of scripture, script, method of writing, nothing more. So the Mir Sahib, Mir could as well be very right when he said it was a prophecy about Qadiyan.
The first name of Qadiyan was actually Islam for Qadiyan.
That's right. I know that. But I say I am just concerned with the word Qadiyan. When you read the history of Qadiyan, or the reference to the history of Qadiyan, for example, Muslim books, Muslim books, this whole name is given, and it is said that Islam, being a longish part of it, was dropped out ultimately. And by the passage of time, only Qadiyan remained to be known. And then many Ahmadi scholars have forwarded this explanation, that by the passage of time a distortion took place and Qadiyan changed to Qadiyan. This is correct, that distortion took place, but I am pointing out that distortion did not take place in pronunciation, but only in the method of writing. Distortion, of course, there was, but it was in the writing of the word, not in the pronunciation, because all scholars of old time would have pronounced Qadiyan as Qadiyan. Now you follow my point?